What is everybody? 2006 year in review continues finally with me, Daniel Rock08, and today we are talking about ECW's One Night Stand. Kind of a weird title for a pay-per-view, especially if it's a sequel. Think about it. If you fucked a chick and you fucked her again, does that make it a one night stand? I don't know anything about one night stands, obviously. But I'm pretty sure that's not a one night stand, people, but whatever. Anyways, with that title out of the way, let's start off right now. This was kind of, while 2005 was really, it felt like an ECW reunion show. This felt more like WWE doing an ECW show official, even though both are WWE ECW shows. This felt more like a WWE show and the ECW being a brand, whereas One Night Stand 05 felt more like a reunion. And you will see why I think that. Now, the point of this show, however, like I said, this felt like a WWE show, is because this was the launching pad of ECW being a third brand. And Jesus fucking Christ, people even back then thought having three brands was way too much. Now we have 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live. We got network specials every fucking other day. We got pay-per-views all the time. Even back in 2006, they thought three brands and 16 fucking pay-per-views was way too much. But I remember this being a big deal even back then. I remember vividly. Think of it this way for a moment. This was 12 fucking years ago. Think of this. We are further away from ECW being launched as a brand than this show is from the original Eastern Championship Wrestling debut. I'm pretty sure of that. And if it isn't that far away, well, then you can guarantee we are further away from this show than this show was from the time that Eastern was changed to Extreme. Think of that for a moment. We are further away from this show than this show is from Eastern turning into Extreme. That's insanity. That's insane. Anyways, Taz defeats Jerry Lawler inside 32 seconds. Not much to talk about. Can't really go on much more about it. First match, we get, like I said, WWE match. This felt like a WWE match, obviously. Kurt Angle defeats Randy Orton in a good match, but nothing more than you would see on another B-rated pay-per-view. A good match. Felt very, very much like a WWE B-rated pay-per-view, though. They make note of how Randy Orton doesn't fit in ECW because he's pretty much a pretty boy, and he has pyro and so on and so forth. I love Randy Orton being the little chicken shit asshole he is, as he needs two referees to be exchanged, to be taken to the back, whatever the fuck. So Randy Orton needs two referees taken to the back, but later on we'll see Terry Funk, bleeding like crazy. He doesn't get help whatsoever. But anyways, I digress. 7 on 10. Next up, we have, he's not just super, he is super crazy. Oh, my bad. He's not just crazy, he's super crazy. I done fucked that up. He teams up with Yoshihiro Tajiri, nice little callback there, and they took on the full-blooded Italians in a meh match. Now, Nunzio is Little Guido here. Nice little callback there. This is a fun match, but again, nothing more you will see than at the time. Both these guys, all four of these guys were on SmackDown. But nothing more to talk about here. Just really a run-of-the-mill SmackDown tag team match. Tajiri and Super Crazy gets the victory in a match. 6 out of 10. Very good stuff here. Next up, third match on the card officially, fourth really, but we get Sabu and Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, throughout my 2006 review, you're noticing a trend here. They don't give a fuck about Rey Mysterio being the World Heavyweight Champion. In fact, he pretty much won it because Eddie Guerrero died. And you ain't going to push Chavo Guerrero. You know, you already did stuff with Benoit. Jericho's gone, so you can't do anything with him. So you got Rey Mysterio. Let's make him a big time star. He's popular as shit. So let's do it. You can sell a lot of masks, so on and so forth. But, you know, they kind of just forced Vince's hand. They made him world champion, but Vince always laughed. He laughed last all the time. So here we are at One Night Stand, and Rey Mysterio and Sabu are officially fourth on the card, really third on the card. But this match only goes 9 minutes. It's a pretty damn good match. It's a very good match, one of Sabu's finest matches. This is a fine match until the ending. Now, I understand why a lot of people hated this ending. And of course, it's ECW. And of course, you should hate it because it's Sabu and Rey Mysterio, and the match ends in a no contest. And it's a Sabu match. Okay, but let's talk about this for a moment. So, anyways, you know, Sabu does his springboard over the top rope to the outside. DDT move through the table. Don't know what you're going to call it. Don't know what it is called. I guess I'll just call it the suicidal Sabu spot. You know the spot where he leaps off of the chair, leaps off the ropes, gets onto his opponent, DDTs him right through the table on the outside. You know that spot. The suicidal Sabu spot. Anyways, they do that, and about 9.5 minutes in, they do that, and then the referee says both men cannot answer. So this match is ruled a no contest. So Sabu and Rey Mysterio draw as the match ended in no contest. 7-10. This match ending doesn't make a lick of sense. First of all, this is ECW. And second off, that's fucking Sabu. And Sabu would never call a match to end on his life. For God's sake, Sabu once had Bill Alfonso in the middle of a match grab bandages, wrapped himself up, and he taped a gash up so he can tape his gash up. That was Born to be Wired in 97 in a barbed wire match. In a barbed wire match, Sabu, in the middle of a match, taped up his gash and all of his injuries. And now he has to throw in the towel just because of that suicidal Sabu spot that he does a million times? That's insane to me. Pretty shitty ending, but I can understand it. I mean, think about it. Sabu isn't winning the World Heavyweight Championship. And Rey Mysterio, well, he's already lost to a million other people. He lost to fucking Finlay on SmackDown, for God's sakes. What, are you going to have him lose to Sabu too? I mean, I guess if he wasn't World Heavyweight Champion, I mean, you might as well give Sabu the match victory here, but he is the World Heavyweight Champion. Sabu isn't going to win the championship, so you kind of have to do a stupid, shitty ending like this. And they don't want Rey Mysterio to win because, well, I don't think Rey Mysterio ever actually won a fucking match in his World Heavyweight Championship match. Did Rey Mysterio actually defeated anyone cleanly? I think the only guy he beat legitimately was JBL, and that's only because he wanted to retire at that point. So, you know, the only guy he beats was JBL, so he lost to Finlay on SmackDown, for fuck's sakes. And they couldn't even have him beat Sabu. So whatever, I understand the finish, but stupid finish. Sabu taped up a gash in a barbed wire match and didn't call for the finish. Anyways, 7-10. Next up, we get match of the night, in my opinion. We get Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer and Beulah McGillicuddy taking on Edge, Mick Foley, and Lita in a outstanding 6-person hardcore match. And baby, oh baby, this was a hardcore match of biblical proportion. This was the most ECW match you can have that there was at this show. Whereas One Night Stand 05, every match basically felt like an ECW match. This was really, honestly, the only match that felt like an ECW style type match. So many interesting spots here, so many insane things going on. Mick Foley had a very interesting 2006 year now, didn't he? I mean, first of all, he had the tables hardcore match spot at WrestleMania 22 with Edge. Now he has this match here, and then later on, he has this kinda on-screen relationship thing with Melina. I mean, I guess, and feuds with Ric Flair, which was the weirdest pairing I've ever fucking seen, but I'll talk about that when I finally get to SummerSlam. If I ever get to SummerSlam. But anyways, you got your barbed wire baseball bats or your 2x4s route. You got Barbie there. You got your plywood barbed wire thing going on. You got fire. You got all sorts of crap here. The only thing you don't have here is thumbtacks, but they did that at WrestleMania, so we got fire this time again. A lot of cool shit here. A lot of cool stuff. It's basically like WrestleMania 22, only with 4 people in it. Plus Buda and Lita, who don't really do much in this match. This is a great match overall. Terry Funk does his typical my eye, he has a busted eye open injury, he's blinded spot, Terry Funk blinded spot. Tommy Dreamer goes nuts on Edge when Edge is threatening to rape Beulah. It's a very uncomfortable scene where Edge has Beulah in a pump handle slam position. Anyways, Edge spears Beulah McGillicuddy. Everyone's cut. Everyone's busted wide open. Mick Foley and Terry Funk are basically dead on the outside. Edge gets a spear on Beulah. Basically, then he spreads her legs open and pins her that way as if he is fucking her. Okay, whatever. And Edge wins this match for his team with Mick Foley and Lita in Match of the Night, 8 on 10. Very, very entertaining match. Very hardcore. Very ECW. Very good. Edge is a dirty, rotten bastard. But check this match out, very good. You got Tommy Dreamer, who was only basically there because of ECW. Terry Funk is 61 years old, for fuck's sakes, at this point. Mick Foley is as much part-time as he ever going to be. Is he retired? I don't fucking know. And you have Edge, who is, at this point, the top heel in the company. So, very good stuff for all of them. And Edge has one hell of a 2006. Probably superstar of that year, honestly. Anyways, moving on up, we get Masato Tanaka and Balls Mahoney in just a popcorn match, piss break match, dead spot, whatever. It's a nice type of match where you go get your popcorn, you go get your beers, you go get your Fanta strawberry pop, but whatever the fuck. Before I talk about the WWE title match, they do something on this show that, quite frankly, would be considered very, very bad in today's market. Yes, I'm keeping this in. Anyways, before we get to the title match, out comes Eugene. And he says, I love ECW. My Uncle Eric says that I am almost as smart as an ECW fan. Of course. And then out comes the Sandman. Everyone's going nuts over Sandman, spilling beers all over them. He's going crazy. Sabu, his entrance, better than his matches. And Sabu canes the fuck out of Eugene. Now, keep this in mind, Eugene is mentally challenged. So they had a segment on pay-per-view where the Sandman, who is a middle-aged dad with a dad bod, a beer gut, drunk as fuck, and he canes the ever-living shit at a mentally challenged man. Now think of that for a moment. That would never fly in today's TV, in wrestling, whatsoever. That would never happen today. But, hey, it was 2006, and they did a lot of crazy shit in 2006. But, it was 2006. And, back in 2006, you can have a beer drinking, cane swinging motherfucker in Sandman. You can have a beer drinking, no nonsense, beer gut, middle aged dad bod in the Sandman and cane the ever living fuck out of a retard. But I digress. Moving on to the WWE Championship match. John Cena defends his championship against Rob Van Dam the whole fucking show. And back in 2006, I pleaded my dad, please order this pay-per-view because I want to see Rob Van Dam win the WWE Championship because I was a big-time Rob Van Dam fan. In fact, besides The Undertaker, he was my favorite superstar. I didn't give a fuck about the marijuana crap. I didn't give a fuck about this. I don't give a fuck about that about Rob Van Dam. The simple fact of the matter was, I was a big Rob Van Dam fan. And I couldn't get the pay-per-view ordered for me. But whatever, that's fine. Because once when I read that Rob Van Dam won the WWE Championship was insane. I went fucking crazy. I was fucking 12. I am older than wow. It is wow. Okay. Mind blown. Okay. Anyways, this was a great match. Now, again, a lot like Rock and Hogan, where the crowd makes that good match into a legendary match. It's kind of like that, but with a much more hostile, vocal, foul language crowd. Now, this wasn't the Skydome. There wasn't 68,000 people there, but there was 2,500 people there, and they chanted John Cena everything in the world they could think of. They were saying, fuck you, Cena. You can't wrestle. Cena fucked up. They were throwing toilet paper at him. There was a part where, at the beginning of the match, John Cena kept on throwing his hat and throwing his t-shirt, and they kept on throwing it right back. One guy wiped his ass with the shirt. One guy spat all over the shirt, and they were trying to play catch with it. It was funny as hell. Toilet paper, shirts being tossed back. You can't wrestle. You still suck. Cena sucks cock. If Cena wins, we riot shit. Whole fucking show. All sorts of crap going on here. A good match, but thanks to the hostile crowd, it is made into a legendary match. And this is really when John Cena as a controversial superstar, as controversial top guy, really showed up there. Yes, he was getting booed at WrestleMania 22, but this is when it was really driven home here. Good Lord. And I don't think John Cena really had an overwhelming babyface reaction. Quite honestly, after this show, there's a lot of crowds, a lot of shows that try very hard to be this type of crowd. And no crowds really do it well since then. Everyone tried to replicate this crowd, but only Money in the Bank 11 could you really get, that hostile towards John Cena. But anyways, good match turned legendary because of the crowd. Anyways, the match is an afterthought. This match is much more rememberable for the crowd for how much they hated John Cena and in the finish. In fact, I forgot that Edge actually dressed up with a motorcycle helmet, speared the fuck out of John Cena through a table. Well, actually, he basically speared himself through a table, and John Cena really hit the ropes, but whatever the fuck. Rob Van Dam hits a 5-star frog splash. Paul Heyman gets in, gets the 1, 2, 3. And yes, even back in 2006, John Cena still couldn't put anybody over. But, whatever the case. Rob Van Dam's the champion, like they said. We'll take it. And you know what? I'll take it. I don't care. I was 12 years old. You know what? I don't fucking care. I was 12 years old. I wanted Rob Van Dam to win the WWE Championship, and he fucking did it. And when I heard about it, I went fucking crazy. And I was like, dude, I can't wait to watch ECW and get to see Rob Van Dam, the new WWE champion, or in this case, the new ECW champion, or at least that's what we thought, because Rob Van Dam said once when he wins the title, he's changing it to the ECW title. But I'll talk about that shit when I get to Vengeance. Rob Van Dam wins 8 out of 10. Good stuff here, but the crowd makes it legendary. Overall, ECW One Night Stand 2006 was a 6.5. It was good. A very good show. Better wrestling-wise than 05, but I digress. You had good stuff. Edge and Tommy Dreamer and Terry Funk and Mick Foley. That shit was awesome. Ray and Sabu had a good match until the finish. Don't know why Sabu would call the match. Why? That doesn't even make sense to me. But I understand why they had to do that. Angle Orton was good. And there you go. Recommended. Anyways, I'll catch you next time, for which I talk about WWE Vengeance and how well is the ECW brand starting out. By the way, considering the fact that it's no longer on the air and it gets canceled in like 2010 or whatever the fuck year it was, yeah, it's a sign that it's not very good. And then I talk about Rob Van Dam's title reign, and guess what? It just doesn't last very long. Anyways, I'm Daniel Rock 08, and I'll catch you next time with WWE's Vengeance. Goodbye.